Murray is like a million times better at paddleball than I will ever be in my entire life. Hello friends, this is Kevin aka K-Man1 coming at you with another episode of Sly Cooper and the Thievius Raccoonus. In the last episode we collected two of Ms. Ruby's treasure keys and took down herself in her base thing. Words. Anyways, in this episode we're going to be going after the Panda King, so let's just jump right on in.
The road trip gave me the time I needed to study up on the Panda King. Born penniless, he was fascinated by the fireworks rich noblemen set off every New Year's. He spent a decade learning the art. But when he tried to offer his fireworks to the noblemen, they couldn't see past his shabby clothes and chased him away. Humiliated, the Panda King took revenge on those who shunned him by using the very tools of his art for crime. The Fiendish Five recruited him as their demolitions expert, and from then on, his explosive touch became feared worldwide. He's rumored to be perfecting some new firework technique high in the unstable Kunlun Mountains of western China.
Alright, here we are with one of the last instances. Look at me trying to talk too fast and then ending up stumbling over all my words. Something that happened in my last run of Ms. Ruby's fight that I want to point out is if you die enough times in a single level, then they'll just like pity you and give you an extra horseshoe. So that actually happened to me. So good signs. Fortunately, that's easily the part of the game that I have the most trouble with, like, out of anything. Just that boss fight, because I'm just so bad at rhythm minigames. But enough harping on that. Let's just go ahead and keep on playing through Panda King's area.
Would you look at that? A fireworks show! Oh my gosh, that's awful! That poor village just got buried in freezing snow!
The rocket came from that giant statue, and you can bet the Panda King lit the fuse. I've got to find my way up there and fast before that lunatic squashes another town.
Yeah, so this is like our first really big example of one of the villains doing something just like really genuinely awful. Because like before it's, oh, they're plundering sunken ships, or well, even I guess he was like causing the ships to crash. So I guess that's a bad thing, obviously. But this is just like he's just burying villages in the snow with his fireworks. Just like that's Disney evil right there. So yeah, it's just Panda King is definitely like the first boss in this game to really like make me stop and think about everything going on. Like, sure, Sly talks a big game about, like, you know, only stealing from criminals, but this is the first time where I was just like, wow, he really does steal from some really bad people. So, yeah. Anyways, the point there is, you know, sidle along without getting crushed by ice. Pretty basic, obvious stuff. Here these are enemies that tend to give me quite a bit of trouble, just because they tend to be mostly in like narrow corridors where you can't really move around. These fireworks over here, you can whack them all and they'll each give you a coin and spiral out and pop like that. But what you're going to want to do is hit the big red ones, because they'll usually unlock the next part of the stage for you. So, gonna jump up here and whack this guy. Sidle along, and we're going to be waiting for him to move his flashlight. Pretty normal sidling stuff, but nonetheless, it's what we're playing. Alright, gotta go fast for right now. Spazzing out and however many times speed. I love the little idle things you can do with the game like that. And so the thing there is just whack fireworks and all the guards die immediately. So, you know, fun stuff. And here we whack the fireworks and one drops the bridge to the next area and the other lets us drop down here, and this is where the vault's going to be. But we have quite a few more clues to collect. So we will go ahead and work our way through that. Safe clues, and over here, actually, in order to trigger the cutscene, you need to walk up to the door here. So
You can't get through
weird.
the security gate without one of the Panda King's treasure keys. There's one over there, but it's heavily guarded.
One key coming up.
All right, and this is going to be another area with a bunch of flashlight guards, and as long as you don't make one blow the whistle, then you're going to be good to go. Also, you can kind of run along the wall like this, but obviously there are some clues among the trees, so you are eventually going to have to go down there, and I'm going to get it. Will my skill be enough? And by skill, I mean running away. It will be enough. All right. Let's have some finesse for this part. Let's be the thief we were meant to be. One last clue over there. There are the two that I saw back over by the key. And I'm going to go ahead and grab the key, even though we're not going to go straight to the door, just because I don't feel like running back and forth all over the place just to unlock the door and all. So we're going to get the key gate animation before getting the vault, but this is our first key for the Panda King. And I've never gotten, like, is he saying he's the king of pandas, or is, like, his name Panda King? Because, I don't know, that's something that always confused me. I'm pretty sure it's that his name is Panda King, like, first name Panda, last name King. Then, like, what kind of panda would just name their kid Panda? Then again, what parent would name their kid Mugshot? So, I don't know. Villains have weird names. I don't get it. Let's just go ahead and work our way over to the vault. And vault is what I'm going to be calling the big ones, and safe is what I'm going to be calling the small ones that have clues
I
inside
got
them.
a real headache figuring this
That's
one
my
out.
goal.
Input 578.
5, 7, 8. Bringing in more Latin flair than ever before. Just kidding, I don't even know. So, what's the power up for
This
here?
just gets better and better. I'd always heard that one of your southern ancestors, Huckleberry Cooper, developed a technique to move while staying invisible.
Okay.
Hold down
This
the circle
is
button
an
to turn
expansion
invisible, then
of
move
our
around
invisibility
with the left
move.
analog stick.
I'm not gonna get into this into big detail until the level kind of designed around using it, just because it's not a very useful power-up outside of that level, but in that level it's like the only way to beat it, so it's kind of, it's a required power, and it's just like, it's kind of like items in Zelda dungeons, how like they give you a power just so you can clear the next dungeon, but then you never ever really use it again. It's just that sort of thing, so. And don't get me wrong, I think it's a cool power, and I think it could be used in a lot more ways, but just for general gameplay, it's just, and since you move so slow while you're invisible, it just ends up not really being worth using that often. But that's just my opinion. You're entitled to your own, as with the
Nice
move while
job
slow
breaking
thing.
into the Panda King's compound. I think I figured out a way to get to the top of that giant statue, but unfortunately it's obstructed by this reinforced ceiling hatch.
No problem. They seem to have plenty of firepower around here. I'll just have to find a few more treasure keys to get at it.
Right. So,
Attention, bank employee. Sadly, company elect not to pay for avalanche protection service, and so I am forced to bury alive one of the many tons of snow. Please be on guard for any surviving villager that come looking for revenge. Thank you. That is all.
Alright, so that was Panda King. I think he's, again, a really interesting character. Definitely one that they had the ability to do a lot with, and they definitely didn't disappoint in that regard. So, actually, conveniently, this is the level kind of centered around invisibility and that power. So, let's just go ahead and do this, and we can get into how it works. It's goods, it's bads, it's kind of irrelevant. Mostly, it's kind of irrelevant if we're being awesome. Being honest. Look at me trying to talk out loud.
This looks like a good place to try out your new invisibility move.
Thank you, Bentley.
Hold down the circle button to drop out of sight.
So yeah, just hold down the circle button to hide. No jumping and hitting the circle button, just hitting the circle button now.
Guards.
So,
Oh, and if the
I guess they're
guards already
innovating
see
in
you,
that regard.
then the invisibility trick won't work on them.
You know, not really. And yeah, what he just said, if you're already seen by a guard, then you can't, like, turn invisible. So it's not like you actually turn invisible, it's just like tricking them into not thinking you're there. So I don't know how it works, I don't know like the practicality of it. But anyways, as far as the moving while invisible, it goes super duper duper slow. Like even sped up, so like the 2 times or 3 times or whatever times speed, the power up that you have on the triangle button, even when you're using that, you end up going slower than your normal running speed. So it's super ridiculously slow. So most of the time I figure it's just not really worth it. And I just run like normal. I mean, I like wait for whatever hazard and then just walk normally. I'm not gonna get set on fire. That's my goal. So yeah, it's just... And this is a power that returns, and I think it works a lot better in future games in the series, because they kind of polished the way they wanted it to work. But as far as this game is concerned, it just kind of falls flat, in my opinion. Which is kind of weird, because, you know, invisibility power in a stealth-based thief game, you'd think that'd be like a godsend and you would use nothing but that from the time you got it onward, but it prevents you from going through the level with any sort of speed, so I just don't really use it. But for this level, they do a couple of interesting things with it. How there was like the conveyor belt with the guard flashing his light back and forth, and if you're stopped, then you go back, but you need to like go uninvisible and then run forward in order to actually make it through. So they do interesting stuff with it, and I will give them credit where credit is due for that. But as far as just it being useful outside of levels designed for its use, it just isn't. So it is what it is. I can't fault them for making a power not just completely broken all the time. But, you know, it's just, you want invisibility to be a useful power. It's just such a mainstay of stealth games, how once you get the invisibility power, it's just, you're super broken and you can just do whatever you want. But they don't have that in this game. I'm gonna wait to grab the clues until I just turn off the alarm, because I'm bad and I knew I was gonna get damaged by it. I mean, I didn't get damaged by it, but I was able to be damaged by it from there. So, I guess I was smart to go for the alarm first, rather than just trying to get the clues immediately. So 3 more clues. Swinging back and forth, and back and forth, and waiting for the conveyor belt. There's a lot of waiting in this level, because like you need to wait for the invisibility, and you need to wait for like spotlights to move position. So, a lot of waiting. Not a bad thing, by any means, but since I'm impatient, and this is a gameplay video centered around getting through the game, not as quickly as possible, not like speedrunning necessarily, but, you know, getting through in a timely manner, not wasting time on unnecessary stuff. And something that's always kind of weirded me out is you can't spire jump on this. It's just like a normal point. You can stand on it, but you can't spire jump on it. I don't get it. Whatever.
Press the circle to enter the vault code.
And this is
It
another
was a
useful power if
challenge,
memory
but
serves.
this vault's
So
combination has got to be 6, 6, 7.
6, 6, 7. Yeah, one off of 666. So, you know, just a clever little nod. Kind of like the 444 from before. How it was like 2/3 of 666, and then like 4 is considered like a number of death in other cultures. I can't think of off the top of my head like which country it was that 4 is considered like an evil number. I want to say it's Japan, but I'm not completely sure. Anyways, this power, it's kind of like the immunity to drowning power.
And you won't even lose a lucky charm.
And again, just if you fall off a bottomless pit, then you won't take damage and die. So definitely really useful. It'll just be like a passive effect of, hey, good job. You might have sucked, but you didn't die for it. So, you know.
Fly, this pagoda
And
is
this
some
area
kind of huge
is
gunpowder
reminiscent
production plant.
of
Judging by the scale, the Panda King must
Interpol
be making
HQ.
tons of explosives.
So he was talking about how he's making a bunch of explosives, burying villages in the snow, etc. But anyways, I think we made a good amount of progress in this episode. Collected 2 of Panda King's treasure keys. And in the next episode, we are going to be collecting more of his keys and working our way through taking down his operation. See you guys then.